Hello, and today we're going to talk about how to write a DBQ, which is a document-based question that you'll find on the AP World History exam. This is part one of the videos on how to write a DBQ, talking about the first steps that you're going to take when writing a DBQ. First of all, what is a DBQ? Well, a DBQ is a question that asks you to answer a historical question. And that's exactly what historians do. Whenever they write books and when they study things, they're trying to answer a historical question. So for example, looking at some of my favorite books from history, some of my favorite historical books, Explaining Hitler is a book that tries to answer the question, what was it and why was it that Hitler was such an evil man? One of my other favorite books, War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning, tries to answer the question, why is it that people and countries and communities glorify and celebrate war? And another one of my favorite books, The Bottom Billion, it tells you the question right there on the cover, why are the poorest countries failing and what can be done about it? So what you're going to do with the DBQ is you're going to answer a historical question. You're going to act like a historian and use evidence to answer a question. However, you're going to do it in less than an hour and with a limited amount of documents. So with the DBQ, you're going to get 7 documents. Now, most of them are going to be written text. Most of them are going to be passages from a book, a speech, or some other kind of document. But then one of the 7, at least one of them, will be an image of some kind. It might be artwork, it might be a chart, it might be a map, a graph, or a photo. Each document is going to include the author or the source of the document and also the year. And you're going to use these documents to answer a historical question. Here's some examples of documents. So document 5, it tells us the source is Cicero, upper-class Roman political leader, on duty, 1st century BCE. Cicero is the man, the person who said it, who wrote it in this case. He is an upper-class Roman political leader. It tells you that right after his name. On duty, the fact that this is written in italics tells us it is a written publication, most likely a book. And it tells you, of course, the year, 1st century BCE. You can see that's document 5. The next document we have a clip of is document 6, which is from Plutarch, a Greek-born Roman citizen and high official describing 2nd century BCE. Roman political leader Gaius Gracchus, 1st century CE. Now, once again, we see document 5, we see document 6. If we were to go on through the documents, we would see, of course, all 7 of them. And underneath their name, of course, you have the actual quote, the thing that is being attributed, the actual document that was said by Cicero. Cicero wrote, now, as to which crafts and other means of earning a living are suitable for a gentleman to practice and which are degrading, we have been taught more or less the following. All right, so here's how you're going to deal with a DBQ and you're going to write a DBQ. The first thing is you're going to read and you're going to analyze the prompt, which is the question you are being asked. And I have 3 examples here. Compare Rome and Han attitudes toward technology. Number 2, analyze the responses to the spread of Christianity in Latin America from 1500 to the present. And analyzes the causes and consequences of the Green Revolution in the period from 1945 to the present. Now, when you look at these topics, they will have some elements that you are familiar with from your AP World History course. However, typically they will not be something that you've learned a lot about. So you learned a lot about the Rome, you've learned a lot about the Han, but probably in your class reading, in your lecture, you haven't gotten into a lot of detail about the exact attitudes they had toward technology. The second question, the spread of Christianity, is actually a much bigger topic, and you might have had a lot of information on this topic. But looking at the third topic, which is actually taken from an AP World History DBQ from a previous year, The Green Revolution is something that is in the AP curriculum. It should be mentioned by your teacher, and you should learn some information about the Green Revolution. However, you probably have not studied this in depth, and that's okay. The point of a DBQ is for you to learn the answer to this question primarily from the documents. So when you first see a question, you see something, you say, wow, I have no idea. I don't even barely remember. What is the Green Revolution? Don't panic. Read the documents, and you should be able to adequately answer most of the question, the vast majority of the question, using the documents. So the first step, you're going to read and analyze the prompt. As you read and analyze the prompt, you must focus in on the key words. Looking at the first question, compare Rome and Han attitudes toward technology. The key words are clearly Rome, Han, attitudes, and technology. I've put them in bold. But beyond just looking at those 4 key words, I want you to focus on what I call the target word. What is this question really asking? Here you're not comparing technology. You're not comparing Rome and Han technology. If you were to write a brilliant essay comparing Roman aqueducts to Han irrigation systems, you would completely miss the point of the DBQ, because when we look at the word in red, we see that what this is about is not comparing the technology, but comparing the attitudes they have toward technology. So what I recommend is you circle all 4 of those keywords, and the word that is in red, which is the target, the thing we must write about, I would circle that 5 times, put a star next to it, underline it. Whatever will help you remember, your essay must be about the attitudes. Looking at the second question, keywords, responses, spread of Christianity, Latin America, and the years. In this case, the focus, the target of this essay is going to be on responses. You're not just going to analyze the spread, how did it spread, who spread it, priests, what they did. No, we want to know, what were the responses to the spread? Did people accept Christianity? Did they reject it, for example? And the third one, you see a lot of keywords or causes, consequences. Green Revolution from 1945 to the present. All those keywords. Again, here we have 2 target words, causes and consequences. Now, after you've analyzed the question, I want you to take a second and just think, brainstorm. What do you know about the topic? What do you know about Rome? What do you know about Rome technology? You might start thinking, okay, well, they had the aqueducts. They built roads. They built the Colosseum. So now you're starting to get some ideas. And you start to think, what do we know about Han? What do we know about the Han technology? What do we know about the Han culture? We're going to start to brainstorm, come up with some ideas. And then you might want to create a loose hypothesis. What are some things you might expect to see? We know that Han and Rome are great civilizations. What are some of the things that great civilizations tend to think about technology? And you might think, well, technology is important. I bet great civilizations think it's good. But there's always 2 sides of every story. Not everybody thinks everything is good. Some people might think something's bad. So you might start to come up with some ideas. I bet there's going to be some people love this technology. Some people are against it. Just like today, when we think about technology, there's some people who love technology and some people who don't. So start thinking and start to realize that people in history are just like people today. What are attitudes toward technology? Think about those answers. How do people respond when a religion spreads? Well, some people like it, some people don't. Some people are kind of in between. So think about these things as you go into the next step. The next step is you're going to go and read every single document. As you read the document, remember the prompt, because you want to go back. Remember, as you're reading each document, you're thinking, what does this tell us about the attitudes about technology? Now, on the documents themselves, you can write on the test. I want you to write next to the document a summary of each document, a summary of one sentence or a short half of a sentence explaining what does this document say about this prompt. Now on the other, next to this, I suggest on the left side of the document, you put a summary. On the right side, I want you to analyze the source statement of each document. And I'll put this more in detail in a later video. But basically, I want you to analyze the document and the source of it, including the author's point of view. Once you've done this, and you have gone through all the documents, you should start to see patterns. And I want you to think of how you can start to put these documents into groups. And just as an author of a book would say, okay, well, I've got a bunch of information about how Hitler was as a child. I'm going to make a chapter about Hitler as a child. And then I'm going to make a chapter about how Hitler rose to power in the Nazi Party. And then I'm going to write another chapter about maybe the psychology and what psychologists say about Hitler and all the crazy, interesting rumors about everything that was bizarre about him psychologically. They start to think in terms of chapters. What you're going to do is you're going to think in terms of paragraphs, and those paragraphs are going to be your groups. So you're going to go through and you're going to find relevant groups. And in this case, I've come up with four groups here. You can see Han government officials valued technology and invented many things. Rome used technology to glorify great leaders. Some Romans believed technology was only for lower class people, and Han believed technology made life better for common people. Now you're going to make this T chart that I've done. On one side, you're going to put the groups, and on the other side, you're going to put the document numbers that fit in that group. You're doing this on a blank piece of paper that you will have with the documents. It won't be a completely blank piece of paper, but somewhere on the test booklet, you will have space to draw a chart like this. And this is going to help you to organize your essay. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to write your thesis. Your thesis should be 1 to 3 sentences. 1 sentence is fine. It's going to go at the beginning of your DBQ essay. And the thesis is very simple. You're going to answer the question. Now, you're going to answer the question using historical academic writing as best you can. Good AP history words. Keep in mind, this is not creative writing. It's not creative writing. You are writing about facts. When you're writing, you need to include all of the key words in the prompt, including the target words, especially the target words. You're also going to include your groups. You can list them copying exactly what you have named the groups. For example, you can see here we have the prompt, we have the chart, and here's my thesis. Han and Rome had different attitudes toward technology. I used every word in the prompt already. Han government officials valued technology and invented many things, and they believed that technology made life better for common people. Rome used technology to glorify great leaders, and some Romans believed that technology was only for lower class people. I've literally taken all the words from my groups, all the words from the thesis. I've put them all together like a puzzle to create my thesis, and this is exactly what you need to do, and it's all you need to do. Now, keep in mind as you're writing the thesis, write as best you can, as high quality as you can, but keep in mind, for the AP World History exam, you will not be graded for creativity, absolutely not. You will not be graded for grammar or for spelling. You will be graded for historical content, so focus 110% on good historical content, good historical argument, making your point so that you have the best DBQ essay and you answer the historical question in the best way that you can. Now, the next steps we're going to do, we've already talked about the thesis. In a future video, I'm going to put up how to discuss the historical context, writing supporting paragraphs about each group of documents, including sourcing, and writing about the synthesis. If you're interested in these videos, subscribe to my channel, and I will be putting them up soon.